Yo, what's up guys? A video I didn't really expect to make, however, a few people were asking my opinion about this topic as well, so I might as well address it in a video. I do want to play the devil's advocate for a little bit of the few things over here and maybe a little bit protecting Countermus on a few things. However, I also do think that a lot of things they might or might not have said are kind of bad for the game in the first place, or kind of things that are just not doing that chill. And things that I would like to see differently, and therefore I also have the notes. Oh, woo. So, first of all, let's get started with this. I think that these kind of interviews that they have been doing, especially most likely with TM, which is the guild that is winning the Siege tournament in Korea, they have been doing those interviews for quite a while. A lot of them are on YouTube. You can actually check out those videos as well. However, this video is posted by Dongha, Dongho. I'm not entirely sure who that is. I'm not sure if that's one of the players that I maybe met in Korea or something along the lines of that. Could be that I didn't know his face, that I don't know his name, could totally be. But a thing that is a little bit troublesome for me with this whole post is that we just have a translated version, but we don't actually have like the true version of this. So it's also giving a link towards like the whole Reddit, like it's giving a link to the Korean Reddit. So, and then he has a translated version of it, but there is no Korean version. So we can't verify with any Korean speaker if the things that he's writing for the translations are correct. A few things are a little bit wordy that the translations maybe don't make too much sense. I would have loved to actually been able to translate it by ChatGPT or whatever and maybe get like a better translation, or at least a different translation that you can compare the two things. Plus a few of those questions that we have the answer to, because this is an interview that they did face to face. He wrote down the questions and answers by himself, I think. I'm not 100% sure about this, and that's kind of the thing that I'm saying, like the source of this is a little bit wonky. And for that reason, for example, like I've been to a lot of Countless interviews, and I've seen a lot of talks, and I've seen a lot of stuff and those kind of things. And some of these answers are more interpretive answers of what they feel like was the answer to, because Countless, especially Countless Korea, does not answer this way. Like this, for example, they would have had, like in the end, it could have mean that their story still pinned down on this. But Countless Korea would have never, ever given an answer like this. They would have probably had like a blah, blah, blah story that was as long as like this whole page. To still get to this answer, like don't get me wrong. Probably they still get to this answer. But they would never actually leave this kind of thing, like specifically saying like, nah, we're not going to do it. So that's kind of the thing that I'm not 100% sure of what's the source of this. And I think I've seen a lot of people make videos on this or react to this saying like, okay, this is exactly what they said. As far as I understood, and like, correct me if I'm wrong, this might not be exactly the words of Countless. And this has been interpreted as saying like, these are exactly the words of Countless, saying like, we don't want to meet people. And like there's a few of those things for, where was it? Oh yeah, meeting users is quite daunting. Like, especially if you ask this kind of question, Countless would give you a blah 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 story that's longer than like this whole Reddit thread altogether, like for sure. But just like it could be that down the line that they felt like this is the answer. That could totally be. But I would be surprised that they would be saying it like this. So for that reason, it's an interpretive answer of what they felt like, okay, they will want to talk to us about it. So for that reason, I feel like that I would rather see like the source of this, because in the end, this is just a translation of something that he felt like were the questions and answers. Because in the end, I am pretty sure that this is an interview that they made for a video at the Countless HQ office, which they have been doing quite a few of, rather than like an interview that they sent questions out and they got a response of them saying like a one-line response. Like I highly doubt that. Also, the big question for me is, were they talking to a developer? Like we all, especially why, because I'm a G, if you know the guy, he was always, when he was at the events, is like, I'm not gonna talk to you, Countless employee, you're a small potato. I need to talk to the big potato. The big potato I can fix shit with. The big potato can fix shit with me. Small potato, I don't need to talk to you. I'm not sure if this interview was talking to big potato or small potato, aka saying like, are you talking to a developer that can say his own mind and that can actually say things that hey, we should improve that, we should change things, I have an opinion on that? Or are you talking to a small potato saying like, I have to work in the company and then they shouldn't fire me kind of answers? So that's also kind of a question on that. But those are my first few takes that I want to take in consideration when going through those notes. I will still go through the notes for the points that I think are specifically and interesting, which I think they do have very good questions too. And I definitely would like to see those addressed as well. But just as like a devil's advocate saying like, okay, it might be not all pitchfork, like Kanto was bad, like kind of shit, because in the end, we don't really know where this exactly comes from, except that it's from an interview and that there's answers, but how those are given or how the translation is, or if this is an answer that they received and then written down themselves, or it's actually recorded and then from there, like textual recorded to anything like that. I'm not sure. Only thing I can say that this is one of those things for Comtois that they are very scared to do publical things because things might backfire. Might that also be that kind of fix your shit and therefore it doesn't have to backfire? Yeah, chicken or the egg story, but yeah, you're kind of true on that one. Like, if there's nothing to complain, we don't have shit to complain, right? But I think also for a whole bunch of things, we complain about things, and if they would fix it, we complain about the thing, how they fixed it, and then if they fix the fix, we would complain about the fix of the fix. Simple example is, we were saying LDs are too strong, we need a strong elemental unit. Hence, Oliver. Oliver is a fucking shit unit, why is Oliver still meta? Remove Oliver, nerf Oliver. And then Oliver is nerfed and is still Oliver's fucking... what? Like, didn't you guys want a unit that was good and elemental that more people can take? And then you get Oliver and you don't like it? It's like, yeah, but you're only buffing passives. That's what I mostly say. You're just buffing passives, and Gapso is bullshit and Smicer is bullshit. Okay, but we had Oliver and people didn't like that as well. So guys, what can we do? We never do it right. So yeah, they do have a difficult job. Balancing this game is definitely difficult. Smacking everything up that some people say, like, oh, just switch everything. It's like, yeah, is that the best way? I'm not sure. Our balance patch is currently kind of minimal, not doing jack shite. More or less, they're still adding in a few things, like a Smicer recently buff, Adriana's buff. Like, there's still like subtle things going in. We were at some point pushing for saying like, okay, we want more often balanced patches and then smaller balanced patches. And now they give us more often balanced patches and smaller balanced patches. And then we're saying like, it's small. It's like, these guys must be like, oh my God, we're working with such fucking idiots. And then the fucking idiots are we. So yeah, keep those things in mind, that some things we ask for, they try to do things. But I do definitely think that something I would really like to see, and we're going to get to that in a second as well, I would like to see them work around more with player feedback. And then not necessarily player feedback. Don't go ask me, don't ask a Jean-B, don't ask like a Jubagel, don't ask like an Obabo. Don't ask statistically, I can't write today, doesn't matter. Statistically, it's written that way. And if you don't agree, then you should like this video. And if you do agree, still like the video, doesn't matter. But ask it statistically. And that could be just simple making polls in the game. Just make a poll for like 50 energy that people fill in the poll. Would you rather see A or B, or A, B, C, or D? And that's the thing that, for example, RuneScape Classic has been doing a lot. Like RuneScape 3 completely got messed up. Maybe you know the story behind it. RuneScape Classic, at some point they said like, okay, we're gonna do everything by poll. So if it doesn't meet 70% of the people want it, then we're not going to do that. Still, is it something that you always have with like developers against gamers, saying like, okay, gamers want something, but in the end, do they actually want what they want, and do maybe not the people know what? Like that's always kind of the difficult question, but at least you can get like player feedback that way. And by statistics, I think it's a lot better, because it's always hard to say like, okay, do you have to balance a game towards like the top end, or do you have to balance the game towards the general population? Because in the end, a lot of these things in this one is saying Siege is a shit show in the top end. But for a lot of the problems that we have on Siege top end, people that are playing Siege are just on general base don't really have. Because, for example, the 1v1v1, yeah, sure, that's definitely a troublesome thing. This is mentioned by Korea, but we can definitely see that from, I know that Asia server has a lot of problems with 1v1v1. Because if two guilds are from the same... if two guilds are from the same language, then they probably team up against the guild that's not from that language. That's definitely an Asia kind of thing. In Europe, you could arguably say that we also could have the same interaction. I haven't seen it too much, to be honest, but you definitely do always have that friend politic kind of style of like the 1v1v1, that it's kind of messed up. So I would definitely say I'm not really a big fan of the 1v1v1 as well. And definitely this thing, like especially for leaders, they did already make it where leaders get a little bit better rewards than the other players because they have to look at the board this much. I don't really see a world where this would actually be lessened out. They did have like the 1-day system in the past, but they would also say that for casual players, it was too short. For the high-end players, it was too long. So Jean-B actually did mention the thing. I did watch his video as well. I do recommend his video and his take on this as well. I would say that if you're maybe Guardian Plus rank, and then it means that your last season was Guardian Plus finish, then your whole guild will always get into 1-day siege system or something. And if you're below that, you get a 2-day siege system. So if you want to chill siege and you want to have 2 days because you can't manage it with the time zones, and it's definitely a global thing where time zones is definitely more of an issue, or just 1 day doesn't fit and the other day does fit, I would definitely say that if you are above a certain rank, I would like 1-day siege. I think that is a really huge plus for like high rank. I think that this is an amazing thing that a lot of people would like to see in the high rank. That's correct me if I'm wrong on like the other high ranked players out there, but I think especially your guild leaders would really like a 1-day siege. It's just so much more chill. They actually did it in Chronicles right now where they put siege just once a week. And then they have it split out on like 2 days still, but they have it once a week. I'm not sure if that's going to be the right thing to do. Definitely don't think like general siege players would like 1 siege a week, but I would say that 1-day siege is definitely something that could be very nice on this. So they also mentioned if something is announced, if they're doing ongoing investigations, and they said like it's burdensome to leave such notice. The only thing I can give a little bit more clearance on this one, and it's also something more related towards balance patches and stuff. For balance patch, we often say it's like, hey, why don't you mention why you go 8% damage up on this unit or that unit? We did actually ask this question back in 2022 in Korea SWC. We were able to talk with the developers there at the Korea HQ. And they pretty much said a very long story on that. But what it came down for me, translated my story, or like my answer from what I heard from them, is them saying like, okay, we would have to hire very good writers in all languages, because keep in mind, if they do notices, they have to do the notices in all language. It's just not sending out like on your WhatsApp group, be right back, we're gonna fix shit. No, you have to make an official notice in all languages. It has to be checked in all languages, blah, blah, blah. There's a lot of more stuff going on with that back in the line that we don't normally see. And for that reason, is it a burdensome to leave such notice? I guess so. Should they still do it? I guess so as well. Like, to be honest, yes. So that's kind of the reason where they said like, okay, we don't want to do it because of like, let them figure it out. And that's like a little bit of content for the game figuring shit out, and a little bit of it's an issue for us because of all languages, and you have to get good writers that understand the game and know what things means and blah, blah, that kind of stuff. So yeah, I think they still should do, but yeah, that's kind of a thing in there. This one is also an interesting one. In regards to siege defenses, we have the Tractor Windy Lulu or the Camilla being too strong, especially in top tier. But in low tier, they definitely do need those. So how can you nerf them at the top and keep them the same at the bottom? And that's actually something that for high rank siege, perfect AI def. Simple as that. The moment that you're G1 Siege Plus, all defenses get perfect AI. That just means every skill is placed from the most right to the most left based on cooldowns. Simple as that. We have that one thing in the Siege tournament right now where you can select things in for like your first skill, blah, blah, blah. And then I still see like a Destiny on defense on like some Siege offense video going 6 times skill 1. I'm like, bro, you would have died so fucking badly if that thing actually decided to go for a skill 3, man. Holy shit, you have no clue. So I would still say that, let's say G1 plus, like this, like if you're G1 plus, you have this. Like, just change the things, because in the end, it is very hard to balance this game. And I'm just giving solutions right now. Let me know in the comments if you disagree or agree with it. But I have played low-end Siege, I have played high-end Siege. I definitely do understand that lower end Siege, you do need your Tractor Windy Lulu. You do need your like proper offenses. You don't really have the rune quality for it. It takes you a while to actually get all of those units in, the skill ups, the runes, Devilmons, blah, 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 all of that kind of stuff. But in high-end Siege, a lot of the defense are too easy because, well, even if you pick a wrong team, they just derp to shit and they don't do anything, right? So I would say G1 plus or maybe even G3 plus or G2 plus, I don't care where. But at some point you are at a certain rank where you have one-day sieges and the defenses just get perfect AI, like altogether. Because in the end, why the hell do we use Clara? Not because Clara is that good, but because she's the only perfect AI unit on defense that fits, right? So for those things, those are definitely points that I want to be, just that I would like to see addressed. And balance patch, I kind of did already mentioned. They shorten the balance patches, but they're not really doing that much with balance patch. I would like to see them at least address a few things, or at least let them tell what kind of way they want to go with balance patches. But a lot of these balance patches, especially the last 3, they were all very lackluster, not doing anything all too much. You can at least address like a few units key here and there, saying like, okay, these are gonna get stronger. But in the end, if down the line, like hindsight, if you look at what balance patches changed, Smicer was changed, which is used a lot right now. Adriana was changed, which is used a lot right now. Gapso was changed, which is used a lot right now. And those are all from us saying lackluster balance patches. Would you say like, okay, but we still have Hey Gang and Oliver and blah, blah, blah. Like, yeah, do you want to gut all those units and create the next Oliver? Because if you nerf all of those units to the ground, there are going to be other units going to become the new Oliver. And I would say for balancing right now, we have one of the most versatile big styles of RTA that we could ever have right now. And I really think that they are scared of fucking that up by building another Oliver, right? So yeah, that's balancing is definitely a difficult take on it. But yeah, they also haven't been doing too much about it. So yeah, that's kind of thing. Addressing hotfixes. Yeah, they're always they actually never did buff a unit and then immediately nerf it, except for Kaki. In no way, they actually did do it for Kaki. For Kaki, they at some point nerfed it because it was just too OP. And they also did it for the twins when the twins were able to team up with all units. Which, if we're talking about scammy-ish things, and they also left like a thing of like the balance patch. Wait, where is that thing? Yeah, this one. They were still testing things up until 20 minutes before announcing the balance patch. This is bad. This is you studying for your exam on your way to the exam. That's just bad. Like if you have to test things in the last minute, freaking postpone your balance patch or just postpone it to the next thing. Or I have no clue what they're doing. Like they're doing these minimal things in balance patching, and they probably have like a whole team on balance patch. It probably is not just one guy with like a Heimerdinger brain sitting somewhere like slapping in a bunch of balance things, right? I hope, I pray, I don't know. But yeah, those are the kind of things that's just straight up bad. And probably they didn't say it this way, but they would say last minutes-ish. Yeah, so yeah, those kind of things are pretty bad, and I would definitely like to see that changed. And yeah, that's just not too much more about it, what you can say. There are a bunch of things where people would say like, okay, things are too strong and then it gets nerfed to the ground, but it's also so hard with balancing. For example, take Gurkha. I would say Gurkha's too nerfed. It was too strong, but then also too nerfed. They also addressed Gurkha at some point in this one, yeah, Dark Slayer. It's funny how they relate that to like a few of the other units, because Light Panda is nerfed but is still strong. So that's definitely not nerfed like the Dark Slayer. Dark Slayer is bad. They are not performing poorly to our metrics. Where the hell are your metrics at? Because those metrics aren't the metrics that I see. And I like to look at metrics. So that's BS. Plus, make those public. And they actually did mention a few things about those as well, which I definitely want to address as well. Is there any intention for counters to create statistical sites such as SWGT, SWRT? And then we are making transparent. So, okay, runes and summon rates. Okay, where are damage multipliers? Come to us, damage multipliers, something. I don't know. That's when your unit does a skill and then it does certain damage, but we don't know how much. How much does Antares increase on his passive? They made 3 videos on the official Summoners War channel about Antares, and none of them actually explained how much percentage Antares actually goes up per turn taken. We still don't know. I still don't know. It's one of those things. Like, so statistics transparent? I don't know. Like, you make things transparent that you have to do by gamble laws, but actually making things transparent, not really. Also, for the dungeon drop rates, we recommend to check Swar Farm. Okay, we are afraid in statistical errors. Bro, don't say these things. Like, that's once again, like, I'm not sure if they actually mentioned it like this or not, because I think that would be not a thing that Comtos would say themselves. Maybe they probably kind of mean it down the line, but yeah, no, that's just straight up bad. Like, we are afraid of statistical errors. In the end, Miho crit rates bug kind of thing. Well, it was not even Miho, but crit rate bug, that kind of stuff. I also would say a lot of the statistical RNG things, in the end, they should just show all statistics in game. It's not that hard. Like, either that or make proper APIs that we can read those statistics. Do we really have to make a crawler? Because in the end, SWGT and SWRT, those are just crawler kind of data sources, and then they make something of their own on it. The data is already in Comtos. Can they not just make an API for that, and then based on that you have like free fucking advertisement? Because in the end, SWGT, SWRT, all of that kind of stuff is literally free advertisement for the game. So anything that will be made by an API is free advertisement for the game. So that will only enhance more people playing that kind of stuff. So I don't really know. So yeah, that's just strange. I'm not really sure about that. I'm also not sure if they just simply don't have the capacity to do those things. Not too sure. They have been working on some security stuff to actually make some of these sites not work and then work again and then not work again. It's also just kind of blowing my mind, because in the end they say like, oh yeah, we watch it there, but then we also kind of disable some stuff of them. It's like, wait, what? So yeah, that's just very strange how they handling these guys that are also making these things, but also handling like anything third party related. And it's also very strange. Like, in the end, I do understand you can't keep everything in Summoners War, because some things are like, in the end, if you check how many hours is in SWGT, like, I talked to the guy that made this stuff. He's working a lot of hours, and he's running it non-profit. So he's just doing it because he likes it, to give back to the community. Sure, he has some like stuff to come in for like his money, but does he make any revenue on it, or does he actually make money on it? No, because like, you don't want to know how much data goes through that thing. He has like a billing cost on that data that's insanely high as well. So he's not doing it for the money. He's not gonna get rich off it. He's just doing it because he likes to do it. And that's what you get when you open up APIs. People are gonna do stuff to just because they like to do it. And yeah, that's you should hire these guys. Like, ain't gonna lie, hire these guys, man. They make good shit. But besides the point on that, yeah, just rambling on my take on those. So yeah, it's hard to say for a lot of the things for like balancing balance is between like top end or like general, let's say general base, general population. Yeah, what do you balance on that? That's always the hard take, man, because in the end, the people that are the highest ranks probably have the loudest voices, because that's why you have a bunch of streamers like my face, people that like to post shit on Reddit or in communities and that kind of stuff. But are we the representation of the general population of Summoners War? No, the general population of Summoners War doesn't say jack shit. They just complain about their LD5 rates. But then player feedback, statistically wise, how would you even say it like how I read it? I don't give a shit. But yeah, that would definitely be a thing. Like, sure, you don't have to listen to everyone, but that would definitely be a nice thing. And I would say they have been asking for us for feedback from time to time and stuff like that. But it's often when we give, like, because in the end with influencers, they work from time to time to ask for feedback, and then feedback. And with that feedback, they do sometimes do something, sometimes nothing. But we actually never hear anything about it, whether they did it or not. We just see it back in the game or not. So I would like to see them give more chance to work with feedback. And that's something that we don't really see, because there's a few things that we have been pushing for years and years, and they just don't do because, well, we don't get a response why they don't. So I have no clue why they don't. Because for me, something that I've been giving as feedback for quite a long time, and it's for me personally, but also for other people out there, top-end Siege guilds do not like streamers. And nothing against me personally, but it's just the simple fact that streamers can leak anything because the chat is right then and there. It's not even by going into and clicking on like a defense, that kind of shit. That's what I can control. If you do that, you're just an idiot. But whatever is said in the chat, I have to put like these fucking big bars on the chat to not be showing the chat. Allow me to just disable the chat or have multiple chat rooms. Because in the end, your high-end players are most likely the ones that are going to be streamers and that kind of stuff as well. Because in the end, like most of the streamers we know are high-end players, right? Or endgame players playing for a long time. But if they want to play Siege, they're never going to be streamers. And then if they are streamers, they're never going to be high-end Siege players because the two just don't match. So very simple, I asked for, let me able to disable the chat. They're like, and continue on with the next week. Bro, we don't even know why they don't want it. So that's also the thing with us giving feedback. We try to give input. And in the end, we give input. We try all of this effort. Why? Because we like the game. We're enthusiastic of the game. Where maybe for some people it's also the case like, hey, I'm this and this and I spend too much. And for that reason, I'm investing in the game and they don't want to leave. Maybe so. For me, it's not really the case. Like if I want to leave, I would leave at any given moment. Like how much I spent on the game, I really don't give a shit about. But for me, I'm just passionate about the game. I want to see this game do the best it possibly can. And I do think that Contours is very scared of messing things up. And for that reason, I think a lot of the results that we see here on the screen, a lot of the things that I have been rambling on for like 27 minutes right now, is happening. And yeah, let me know what you guys' take is on this. And let me know specifically, what would you like to see changed? And what would you like to see of them taking a different approach? And that's, you could say like, oh, more LD race. Well, we get a lot more LD scrolls, so we do get a lot of that stuff already. And if we say like, oh, it's been super lackluster and the game is dying, blah, blah. I would say that the game currently is in a better state than 2-3 years ago, for sure. Because let's say, first of all, Summoner's Work is not in its peak. Like no one thinks that. No one is saying that. But I do think it's in a lot better state than 2, 3, 4 years ago. Because we got the auto farming right now. So much more chill to make 6 stars. Catching up for new players is so much better. You get so many more scrolls and resources to get stuff. There's just a lot of like, if they would ever make a Summoner's War Classic where it would take you a month to make a 6 star and you have to farm all of your shit in fucking fame or hell with a fucking water werebear and bullshit, no one will be playing that shit because currently the game is so much better in the current state than it is in a previous state where it has been. So for that reason, I don't think that the game is like, ooh, it's so bad right now and in the past it was better. No, not the case. But I do think that there's a lot of points that they could improve on. And that's also the reason why I'm making this video from both sides saying like, okay, there's a bunch of things I do agree with. And there's a bunch of things I don't agree with. And there's a bunch of things that are maybe a little bit different color than we see on the screen right here, right now. But just giving my take on it, and I like to talk too much, and that's where it probably ends up with this kind of whole video. At some point, it's also like, okay, I'm gonna write down points, and then I'm gonna work through those points, and then I'm gonna say stuff, and then I just start rambling on like left, right, and center. That would be a terrible teacher. One more thing that I forgot to say, and saying like, oh, Kanto is just the worst and they don't care about their game. I would say League of Legends players say that about Riot. World of Warcraft players say that about Blizzard. I would say that Genshin Impact and Honkai Star Rail players are saying it about Miiverse or whatever the company is behind that. Epic 7 probably says the same thing about their game. RuneScape players say the same thing about Jagex. MapleStory players say the same thing about Nexon. And the list goes on and on and on. So in the end, I think as a game developer, you can never do it right. Guys, thanks a lot for watching. Definitely let me know what you guys think in the comments. And I hope to see you, as always, in the next one. Thanks for watching. If you would like to see more guides, join the Discord and check out the content tab, which has the dungeon guide archive and the video guide archive, which contains all of the guides that you need. Hope to see you there.